And if you sit at home and you're looking on the internet and you're upset about, like, you know, what corporations are putting genetically modified foods into all the grocery stores, or you're sitting around on your computer and you're getting upset about all the people that are, you know, negative on Facebook, or you're ranting and raving about whatever it is that you want to look at in the world that's not in alignment and that you're angry about. And so now vibrationally, you're angry, you're abrasive, you're out of alignment, you're tense. It's not really helping anything. It's not helping you. It's not helping your family. It's not helping anything change in those things that you're angry about. So the reason I say this is to help us vibrationally stay in the most powerful position for change and transformation. And the most powerful position for you vibrationally is to stay in that state of peace and ease and self-love. So even if I look at the internet and something is upsetting, I'm like, wow, there's some stuff going on in the world, like, that's not really that amazing, and it's kind of low vibration. I see people hurting each other, but I can still send love to them. I can still express how I feel without getting angry, without losing my vibration. I can stay in a higher vibration and still observe things, but not let them take me out of my alignment, not absorb that energy to the point now I'm angry and now I'm raging and I'm upset and I want to fight the government, or I want to go take down somebody who I think, you know, isn't doing something right. And so I feel like, big picture, it would serve us so much to maintain the state of ease. And this is why so many of the shows we've talked about the importance of meditation, the importance of daily alone time and connecting with nature. Like today, I spent hours outside. We went for a walk in nature, my family and I. Then I came back and I was planting flowers in my front yard on my porch and just putting in fall flowers, and that just makes me happy and I feel amazing. And, you know, there's times where we can be so stressed and tense and we're upset about stuff we can't control. And if we don't watch it, we'll lose our vibrational alignment and we'll fall into a heavier vibration because we're fighting or angry with somebody who's not making us happy. And that doesn't, you know, I'm not judging if any of you are doing that, because it's very human of us to do that. But at the same time, I feel like there are options, there are choices. And that's why I wanted to talk about that today on the show, is not to judge the times that you have fallen or that you've gotten stuck in a low vibration, or the times that you've wanted to go and kick your neighbor's ass because they upset you or their dog was barking all night. But to just realize that no matter what's happening out there, you have a choice to maintain ease and peace in here. Every moment we have that choice to let something out there be more important than our inner peace and inner ease. And what I've learned is nothing out there is worth that. Nothing externally is going to be worth your alignment and your vibrational health. So if some of you are struggling and you have been having chronic sickness or pain or tension in some way, you might want to really vibrationally look into what are you holding on to internally. What is it that's happening outside in your movie that you're so upset about that maybe you're spending a lot of time talking about it or thinking and dwelling about it in a negative way, or just holding anger and tension in your belly. That can really start to upset your body, and your systems of your body don't like that. So, you know, it's not really about looking at life. I feel like, you know, when we're on the spiritual path of enlightenment, what does enlightenment mean? Do I need to travel to India? Do I need to do a lot of yoga retreats? Do I need to, you know, chant Om 20 times a day? Like, what is that? What is enlightenment? And I feel like it's been fed in that way to many, that there's all these certain things you have to do to be worthy of that moment. But really, every one of you has that power right now. Like right in this moment, this next breath you can take a breath and you can live in trust. You can breathe in right now and trust that, you know what? Stuff looks crazy out there, but I trust that the universe is supporting me, things are changing around me. Things are falling away. People are changing. Those people I thought would behave in a certain way, they're not. This person I thought would help me isn't. This person is helping me. That's cool. And we can observe all that, but we can maintain that vibrational alignment of trust and realize that no matter what's going on externally, internally, if I maintain this place of ease and grace, this place of centered trust, this is exactly the space that I hold my greatest power. Because now, whatever's going on out there, I can observe it. I can navigate this changing, shifting movie without losing my alignment with Source, without losing my sense of awareness, my sense of self-love, self-worth, and self-esteem, which is so important. And it's really going to be important for each of us to learn this, because no matter what it is we're chasing externally or we're trying to grab onto, whether it's a relationship, maybe we want a certain status as a job, we want a certain title, and we think then we'll be happy, then we'll feel safe, then we'll feel powerful. If I had this much money, then I'll feel safe, then I'll feel powerful. And I promise you that it's now, like the moment is now, and it's to take this next breath with trust and to realize that nothing externally will ever fulfill that ego need to grab onto something because of its lack of feeling safe. The ego never feels safe. It's always uneasy. It's always like insecure, frightened, intimidated. But the true self, your true higher conscious aligned self, if you choose to tune into that more subtle voice, that place in you is always at peace and at ease. And if we start to tune in that direction instead and trust that, we will be amazed of what choices we'll make with the things that happen to us, that we don't need to let what happens to us identify us in a way that causes us suffering. If anything, even if these very terrible, hurtful things happen to a soul, they can be amazing and powerful in transformation, in like propelling a soul into forward motion. And sometimes we need that kick in the butt to move, because if energetically everything kind of stayed stagnant and nothing really challenged us, we would never have any desire to evolve or move forward. And so when things come in and they feel tense, or they're pushing on us, they're challenging us, if we can continue to remember that the universe loves us and supports us, and that, yes, you watching today and me talking today are very important. We are very important beings, and we're loved and we're supported, and the universe is assisting us. And sometimes that sense of assistance may look terrible and painful because maybe we didn't pick up on those subtle messages that Spirit was bringing for so long, and now we got a big catastrophe coming to get our attention. So I feel like the more that we tune into this part of ourselves, the more we honor that intuitive side, we will pay attention to those subtle messages so we can really prevent a lot of our suffering. And if something does come that feels very, ground shaking, it's just shaking your world, instead of panicking, we can start to look out of the eyes of awareness. It's like, I was just watching a movie the other day. It was called Divergent. And I really related to this film, to the woman in the film that could not be controlled. They called her Divergent. It's a sci-fi film, but basically there's a society and there's all these people that are falling in different categories, like the selfless ones that help others. There's the ones that are they're warriors, they're fearless, and they have to protect the community and the society. There's those that are very smart and intelligent, and they have certain jobs they have to do. And so there's all these little categories that the humans have to go into. And it was very symbolic of what we do in our society. We try to put everyone in little boxes. And this one girl was a divergent, meaning they couldn't control her. She could be any of them, and she wouldn't really let them control her. And I could relate to that so much at a spiritual level, of how I feel that that's so important to maintain that alignment with self and not to be controlled and not to be pushed into little boxes. But what was amazing about this film is that I want to reference right now is that there was a part where the guy that's assisting her, he said, you're different. When you get afraid, you wake up.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they shut down. And that line in the movie is the biggest one that stood out to me, is how do we handle what happens to us? And for my soul in particular, one of the things that I feel an honor for my own soul is that when something happens that's intense and it's fearful, it wakes me up every time. I wake up and I become more aware, more tuned into every single thing. Like, I will pay attention to everything. It's like spidey senses are activated. And we all have the ability to tune in greater when things start to feel tense or scary and fearful. Or we can shut down, and that is our choice. That is really where our most important power lies, moment to moment.
Yeah.
It's not what are people doing to you, or what is the government doing, or what are the neighbors doing, what is your daughter doing or your son doing. It's what are you doing with that? What are you going to do with that information? How are you going to take that fear of the unknown, and how are you going to face it and move right through it? How are you going to take that fear of change and just embrace that change and move forward in a new way? And I promise that as each of you trusts in yourself, as you love yourself and you realize you're important, you realize that your evolution is very important, you will start to make forward movement, and this will become more natural for you. Fear will come to all of us. Fear touches every one of us. But what do we do with it? That's the magical question. And so I'm going to pause for a second because I've been going for a while and see if there's any comments or questions.
Well, there's a comment from Ron.
Okay, what's Ron?
He says, "You're right, Tanya. Not letting circumstances dictate life's outcome. I'm adopted, and at times in my life, it was used against me like a defect. I had abandonment issues. I just focus on the positive, amazing soul I am in the now, and all fear is gone."
Yes,
Yep.
Amen.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Sounds like he's been hanging out with me.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Yes, and it's true with what Ron's saying. Yeah, I really do love that guy. Yeah, and when I met Ron, he had a lot of abandonment issues from that, and it was triggered way back to that adoption and how much that can affect a soul vibrationally. This is the stuff that I help souls with my auric clearing work that I do, is that we help them to tune into those vibrational misalignments. That it doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. It's just cellularly something happens to a soul and it creates a trauma, which creates a memory, a cellular memory. And then that memory gets kind of stuck like a record. And this can happen, we hear about it when people have post-traumatic stress. We acknowledge it then. If a war vet comes back with post-traumatic stress, oh, they've got trauma. But this happens to a child that vibrationally comes in. Mother rejects the child. I can't take it, can't handle it. I got to adopt my baby. That child feels that vibrationally, feels that rejection, feels that mother just left me feeling, even though they're a baby. And so as they grow up through their life, if they never tune into that, you can look at a person's record, as Ron, as I can show you from connecting and helping him, he had quite a record of abandonment, of people betraying him again and again and letting him down, and him feeling left and abandoned each time. And so what's amazing, though, is once we could tune in and see that and then clear that, set the intention to actually release that vibrationally, everything shifted for him. And now there's trust and there's this sense of self-love and self-worth instead of this rejection, this part in him that used to really, it was like self-sabotage. I'm going to tear myself up because something's wrong with me. I'm not lovable. I'm unlovable. I was given away. And it may sound like not a big deal to somebody, but that for his life was a huge deal. And most of the clients that I help and work with, whatever they're going through, I was helping a woman the other night on the phone, and we're going to actually do a clearing soon. But I was tuning into her vibrationally, and she was just like, Tanya, I haven't really had any big trauma in my life. So what's my problem? Like, I've got this stuff going